pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The board just met in executive session to go over some personal agenda items, the HID report, suspension and detention report, out-of-district placements, and legal status. We do have some additions for the agenda tonight. 1S, out-of-district placements. 5S, creative curriculum for preschool. 6S, biannual gifts to schools report. 46 BUS, it's going to be quite the night. Bid award for electric supplies. 6, under other board business, superintendent's completion of merit goals. And I believe we had, that was it, right?
There was just a change on the out-of-district.
Oh, thank you. We had a change to the out-of-district placement.
Right.
Yes. I do see, I want to thank Chris for being with us tonight, and also recognize we have some special guests, it looks like, in the back. Boy Scouts here, I believe you're doing merit badge. Is that right? Well, thank you for being with us tonight. We appreciate that. Okay. Just moving along. Notice, in accordance with the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Law, notice of this meeting was posted at the board offices, as well as written notice given to the Times, the Township Clerk of Scotch Plains, the Borough Clerk of Fanwood, and the annual notice of regularly scheduled meetings. In accordance with, are we going to public comment? Can we do public comment? In accordance with Scotch Plains Fanwood's bylaws 0164 and 0165, the meeting will be opened for 15 minutes for public comments. So if anyone would like to address the board, please just come up and state your name and your town. Okay.
Do you have something?
Oh,
Okay.
please. We just have to get you on the microphone. Just give us your name and your town, please.
My name is Robin Raphael. I live in Scotch Plains on Willow Ave.
Thank you.
Okay. I come here tonight because my daughter's starting kindergarten in September.
Okay.
And I'm being forced to send her to Kohl's across town because of the way the zoning is. And I understand the problem lies in the fact that I am an educator as well, and there's no way I can make it to work on time for my students and have my daughter go to Kohl's. So I do have a babysitter whose daughter also goes to school 1, which is where I need to be in the morning, and the afternoon would be taking care of my daughter.
Okay, thank you. I think this matter is probably better brought to the district.
I did speak.
So you have,
speak
okay.
With, yes, Dr. Reed. She
Okay.
told me that I would have to, I guess the next step is to come to the board because of diversity and segregation laws. But I did go to that kindergarten orientation, and the school is lovely, although I don't feel it's diverse, actually. So I would really appreciate it. I'm pleading with you to please allow me to attend school 1. No way I could make it to work.
So the board will consider your request, and then they'll give me direction?
Yes. It isn't something that we can obviously make a decision about at this moment, but we will
Right.
definitely be discussing it and confer with Dr. Hayes. And
So what is the next step for me from here? Would I be hearing from you? Do I have to reach
Yes.
back out?
Yes. No.
No, we will have someone get in touch with you directly.
Within a timely manner, so just so I know for September what's going on?
You'll know probably before the end of June.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my friend is a little nervous. I'm Catherine Decker-Lewis. I live at 5224 Paul Avenue. And this is my daughter Shannon, who will be attending kindergarten at School 1 come in September. And my older daughter Christina, who goes to Park Middle School. We're very happy residents in South Plains. My husband is a stay-at-home dad. I do teach, with Mrs. Raphael. So we are coworkers, and we live about 3 blocks away. So we were very excited to think that our daughters, you know, could go to school together, and it helps us obviously with childcare and stuff. And I would just really appreciate if you guys would really consider this, because I know that this is public and many of you don't know the situation, but she has had a hard time submitting her request, and the response was negative, and I don't think that's fair. She's a Gold Star family. Her brother died in Afghanistan for this country, and I just think this is such a small accommodation, and we want our children to go to the more diverse school, and I just wanted to say that, so thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming up. Appreciate your comments. Okay, if there's anyone else that would like to approach? Okay, we will move on then to the instructional update. We have Kaylin Franz, right?
Yes.
Please. And we will need to move, I'm assuming. Is she using the,
I think she's using the Elmo, yes.
We are going to be at some point. We have a couple different things, so if it's easiest to move at the beginning, that's fine. Otherwise, we can start with 2 reports and you can move in the middle. It's up to you.
How about we go with that? Thank you.
So the following data is reporting for the reporting period September to December 2016 for the Electronic Violence and Vandalism Reporting System. The district reports on 5 different categories: violence, vandalism, weapons, substance, and harassment, intimidation, and bullying, or HIB. The district reported 10 incidents of violence, 3 incidences of vandalism, 0 weapons incidences, 3 substance incidences, and 8 HIB incidences. Again, this is for September to December 2016.
Now you get the much longer report from me.
And I would like to say that was Lisa Rodimbus for the record. I apologize for leaving you off.
All right, so I'm going to do 2 reports with you guys tonight. The one that you're very used to me hearing, I'm going to go through our harassment, intimidation, and bullying report for that same marking period. And then after that, I'll have you guys move. We're going to go through the school self-assessment scores for the entire 16-17 school year. So for harassment, intimidation, and bullying, again, like Mrs. Rabimbis said, the following data is for the reporting period of September to December this fall of 2016. The total number of investigations from September to December was 17. Our number of confirmed harassment, intimidation, and bullying incidents was 8. The status of all investigations is complete as recorded on the monthly Board of Ed agendas and as witnessed by you. The state likes us to also identify any bullying that occurred during the reporting period that was based on protected categories. For that reporting period, we had 1 based on race, 1 based on color, and 1 based on gender identity and expression. It is important to note that that is not an unduplicated number. 1 case could be based on more than 1 protected category, and also it does not include all 8 cases. Cases can also be based on other distinguishing characteristics. For September to December, our investigators were Denise Pelizzola, Christine Iarusi, Carmen Lily Jones, Jason Cross, Chrissy Krasowski, April Trusting, Cesare Medley, and myself. Discipline that was imposed during that period was parent conferences, student conferences, after-school detentions, Saturday detentions, in and out-of-school suspensions, loss of privileges, and police notification. For remediation, given from September to December, we had monitoring by teachers, monitoring by other school staff, hallway monitors, escorts to bathroom and nurse, follow-up check-ins with counselors, paper check-in systems created, apologies facilitated, schedule changes, separations of students in class and at lunch, assigned seating, parent meetings, parents provided weekly email updates, parents provided guidance on social media, including being advised to block electronic communication between students, students advised on appropriate social media interactions and technology use, coaching on conflict resolution and self-advocacy skills, students recommended for leadership activities, student recommended for small group social skills, police contacted, counseling services provided both in the school and community-based. Students provided group counseling. Students referred for wraparound services via the Effective School Solutions program at our high school. Referral to the student assistance counselor. Teacher mentoring. 504 plans were created. Coordination with the child study team. Assignments provided for reflection and social emotional growth. Empathy building activities for individual students in classrooms. Classroom lessons. Community service was assigned. Students were instructed to have no contact with each other. Students warned of future consequences. Referral for psychiatric evaluations, and referral to other community-based services. For September to December, we also did trainings and programs for our community at large. For training, we had harassment, intimidation, and bullying policy and protected classes training. We had classroom meetings and establishing classroom respect training. Teasing and bullying in the 6 essential lessons training. Responsive classrooms training. School climate and culture improvement. Social skills training, school-based data and HIV prevention, students with bipolar training, students with ADHD training, cyberbullying and cyber safety, wraparound services, transgender student supports, violence and vandalism and substance abuse training. And we also attended outside trainings including LGBTQ students and bullying, social skills and relationship improvement, cyberbullying, mindfulness and its relationship to student behavior, school climate and culture improvement, school safety, suicide prevention and intervention and the relationship to bullying, and positive behavior support models. It's important to note that the trainings above were provided to many different groups that include staff, contracted service providers, substitutes are all trained, community members, students, and also parents. Also, trainings were provided within our district, out of district, and with coordination with our community resources, such as trainings we led with our local police department. For programming, we had Week of Respect activities, School Violence Awareness Week activities, leadership groups, multicultural events, cross-age teaching activities at all levels, service groups, the Green Dot Bystander Intervention Program, the Gay Straight Alliance Ally Week activities, daily PSAs and positive climate announcements, various school-wide assemblies on bullying and related topics, new student orientations at the beginning of the year at all levels, Caught You Doing Good program, the STAR program, the Ruler approach, classroom-based character education lessons, the PALS program, Project Adventure team building activities, the LEADS program, School Spirit Weeks, Teasing and Bullying 6 essential lessons at the elementary level, social skills programming for targeted students in small groups, responsive classroom activities, the bucket filling program, and other positive reinforcement programs. All right. I'll take questions on that, and then we'll move to the next section where you guys actually physically move. Any questions for September to December?
I should say thank you very much.
Glad. All right, we're going to move on to our self-assessment then. Oh, yeah.
I have one question. You said there were 17 investigations.
Yes.
And that 8 of them were confirmed HIB. I'm wondering, do you have the data with you of how that compares to last year or
I do.
previous years?
It's very similar. So I'll give you both investigations and then confirm. So for our investigations, we had 14 investigations in 2015 and 17 in 2016. And then for our confirmed incidents, we had 5 in fall of 2015 and 8 in fall of 2016.
Any other questions? Okay, so we will move to the side.
All right, we're going to go through now our once yearly self-assessment score. As required by the state law, the Commissioner of Education has developed a program to grade schools yearly on their efforts to implement the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. We're now in our 5th year of completing this assessment, which is designed in rubric form and is to be implemented as a self-assessment. Every year there are changes and adjustments, but we are in our 5th year of doing it, and it gives us a chance to reflect on ourselves and our practices. It's a lot of numbers, so I'm going to be flipping through on each element, and I'll be giving you a description of the elements as we go. There are 8 core elements in the self-assessment, and within each core element there are 1 to 5 indicators on which a school can receive points. Points are given on a scale from does not meet the requirements to exceeds the requirements. The scores from each element are then added to make the school grade. Please note that at the end I'm going to give you a full score. A school that has met all of the law requirements would result in a school grade of 52. So it's not on a 0 to 100 scale. It doesn't correlate with letter grades. A 52 is meeting every expectation of the law. A school that exceeds every area in the state requirements would receive a grade of 78. So 52 is meeting all. Our standard 78 is the top of the scale. This spring, each of our schools engaged their school safety teams in completing the self-assessment, and we've provided you with the resulting scores, which I'll be sharing with you tonight. Our schools' scores this year range from 63 to 76, and again, a 52 is meeting all our standards, a 78 is exceeding. These scores reflect that our schools mark themselves consistently in the meets or exceeds requirements in many areas, and we believe that this is a depiction of how we are moving in a systematic manner as a district in our programming and procedures related to harassment, intimidation, and bullying. I'm now going to walk you briefly through each of the core elements within the self-assessment. As I go through them, you'll see the core elements at the top. This is the max score. That would be if it exceeded every element. And then you'll see the schools and their scores. Element 1 covers HIB programs, approaches, and initiatives. Specifically, this section asks that schools annually implement, document, and assess HIB programs that are designed to create school-wide conditions to prevent and address HIB. Additionally, school safety teams should be identifying patterns of HIB on an ongoing basis. Element 2 covers training. This section first asks about training on district HIB policy for adults, including instruction on HIB based on the protected categories. This section also covers the requirement that we discuss with students the district's HIB policy. Element 3 covers other staff instruction. First, this section asks us about the requirement of 2 hours of instruction in both HIB prevention and in suicide prevention within a 5-year professional development cycle. Element 3 then ensures that we have provided instruction and professional development that is specific to individual responsibilities. This includes our anti-bullying specialists, our school safety team, and our administrators. Element 4 covers curriculum. This element looks at our provision of ongoing instruction on preventing HIB for students and the participation in New Jersey's Week of Respect each fall. Element 5 covers personnel. Specifically, this element speaks to new personnel requirements as a result of the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. This element asks that we appointed an anti-bullying specialist within each school and created a school safety team in each of our schools as well. Additionally, as required by the law, the anti-bullying specialists meet regularly throughout the year with the anti-bullying coordinator, myself. Element 6 covers incident reporting. This section looks specifically at whether we have implemented specific procedures for reporting HIB and reporting new information on a prior HIB. Element 7 covers investigation procedures. This element first ensures that we have notified the parents for students identified in each harassment, intimidation, and bullying case. In regards to timeline, this element asks if we have completed each investigation within 10 school days, prepared a written report on the investigation, and provided that report to the superintendent within 2 school days of completion. And element 8, the final element, covers harassment, intimidation, and bullying reporting, and asks that our procedure for reporting ensure that we gather all required information. This element also identifies whether we have responsibly posted on our websites the harassment, intimidation, and bullying grades we received from the previous school. Again, at the very end, after element 8, you'll see our school grades. The district also receives a district grade, which is an average of all our school grades. In our 5th year of completing this self-assessment, we've been able to utilize this as a process to really review our implementation of the harassment, intimidation, and bullying law. We continue to focus much of our energy on educating our staff, students, and our parents, as well as continuing our ongoing implementation of curriculum and supports. These aspects are positively reflected in our self-assessment scores. All right, questions on this?
I have a question. I'm sorry if you said this and I just missed it. Who is involved in, is it the school safety team and you and the principals who assess each?
Yep.
At each school?
It's the school safety team. That's what's required under the law. The school safety team at a minimum must require the principal, the anti-bullying specialist, so those were the individuals I named in the first report. It also must include a parent on each team, as well as a teacher on each team. Some of our schools have multiple teachers. At our high school, we've included community members and community resources. We even have somebody from the Rape Crisis Center on our school safety team. So at each school, it looks a little different, but at the bare minimum, it would be those individuals.
So are there any other questions? If not, I would like to thank Caitlin Franz for this very thorough report and for all of her leadership relative to our initiatives in terms of anti-bullying and HIB. I'd like to thank Lisa Lubimbus, who works hand in glove with Caitlin, both for the support for the HIB programs and also for the very careful monitoring of the electronic violence and vandalism reporting that we have to do periodically. I know that at the school level, our hats go off to all of the people that support these processes. You know, we have the people in the trenches who do the HIB investigations, our anti-bullying specialists in each school. And oftentimes these people wear multiple hats for us. So we don't think take any of this lightly, because it is a lot of extra work that's put on their plates. But we do it with fidelity, and we do it with a great deal of care in this district. We take it all extremely seriously, because that's what we should do on behalf of our students. So my hats go off to all of you, for the many people that serve on those safety committees, and for all the input that you gather, and just the wide range of programming that you reported out on tonight. When I think about how much work is done relative to these initiatives, it really is both inspiring and something I'm very grateful to you for. Yeah.
Thank you. It's nice to see all of you again.
Okay. So as we move on, we have some committee reports, I believe, from the board. Or,
Shared services
Shared
report.
services, thank you, Mrs.
Apologize that I didn't get it to everyone yet, but our meeting was this morning and I have not had the opportunity to type it up yet. But the gist of it is that we talked about the computer training class for senior citizens that we were coordinating with the seniors from Scotch Plains and Fanwood. housing it at the high school. Dr. Heisey was very involved in getting students together and finding a room and equipment and everything so that we could do something that was fairly one-to-one ratio of students to senior citizens. And it had a good start. We did do two classes, right?
That's what I understood.
Twice, and there was not a huge turnout, but the people who came said that they felt like they'd gained something from it, and we are looking at continuing with this program in the fall again. So
That's great.
it's a nice thing that we're able to work together on something that's really positive. And
Absolutely. I have no doubt that when the word gets out to the other seniors, we'll grow the program going forward.
the seniors are learning a lot about how to use their technology better, and our students are probably, I would say, benefiting from the intergenerational bonding experience. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Please continue.
Getting down this list. The update, which isn't really much of an update on the fair housing situation, is that negotiations are still ongoing. So we have no real update for that, but they are keeping this on our agenda for shared services, so as decisions are made at our end, we'll have a sense of how many families might be moving in the new units as they go up. There was an update on the PAL programming that we hosted, I think, 2 dates at Terrell and 2 dates at Park, where the police came in and did a bunch of activities indoors with the students. They said it went really well. They think maybe the police had more fun than the kids did. But I know from some of the parents whose kids were there that their kids had a great time and really enjoyed it. And they're thinking they'd like to expand this program. They'd like to do it particularly during the winter months when they feel that the kids are not involved with soccer and baseball and all the outdoor sports. But they thought they might add an outdoor component to what they're doing. They're still working on that a little. They did ask us about Friday's Place and if we could somehow revive that in some way. I think Friday's Place was more of a PTA run thing than a Board of Ed run thing.
Yes, it was.
But it wasn't the police who asked about that. I think it was Mayor Marr who asked about that. They talked about possibly starting an Adopt a Cop program, which they did not describe what that is, and I did intend to look that up, but I haven't yet, in the middle schools. And they talked about the opiates forum being very successful. And they talked about the Hidden in Plain View, which I know you had gone to see for the math. And they would like to, I think, do something more with that. What else? They
Field.
Yes, the fields came up in discussion. The fields behind Terrell came up in discussion. There was some discussion about where we are in the process with this. The first round of what we were doing takes us through the bidding process. Looks like it would be about $800,000 to do the work, but that does not include the engineering costs yet. We're still hoping to get those from our engineer. That's costs that would be shared jointly with the 3 entities, but also paid for in part by a grant that we hope to obtain from the county. Then we talked about that pretty much covers the topics that we talked about that hit on board related things.
Well, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh.
Okay. All right, I think we had a facility and finance report. Mr. Murray?
We do. Sorry, yeah. So there was a facilities meeting on Monday, a couple of items, one being one that we'd like to have recommendation on would be, long story short, is we have tenure on our school buses. We have 6 large school buses in the district. One of them we purchased last year. 5 of them are coming due to be taken off the road due to state requirements in the next 2 to 3 years. So the thought is by using some excess extraordinary aid from 2015-16, we can go move forward and purchase 2 additional school buses to help kind of get us ahead of where we don't want to be, which is in a place where we don't have new school buses and the old ones have to come off the road. So the cost for that would be approximately $181,000. That would be for 2 school buses, similar to the one that we just purchased in the fall of 2016. The next item we talked about were bids for purchasing of stage lighting and sound systems for both Park and Terrell auditoriums. So the bid process for opening will open on the 27th and is hopefully be approved on the 29th. And the last thing is we talked about some summer work. So there was approximately 15 projects we talked about with regard, they were from all the way from repaving playgrounds and parking lots to new boilers, new cafeteria tables, renovations of media center. Not really relevant to today, but earlier in the week, increasing air conditioning within the buildings. Some field work at some of the schools, and new windows in the press box, new lighting at the high school parking lot. So a bunch of different projects that are going to be going on throughout the summer. And that's the facilities report. Very, very quick. And there's some overlap with the finance report, which I'm going to be giving on behalf of Dr. Clancy in a moment, if there's no questions on facilities.
I think we are good.
Seeing no questions, I'll move on to finance. So finance report. So we did receive a rebate on the McGinn boiler in the amount of $8,800. And the rebate plan was extended, so we're going to be applying for a rebate for the Kohler boiler once the installation is complete. The next item we talked about, which was the school buses, so I already touched on that. The other one was the stage lighting and sound systems. I touched on that. The next 2 are bids. One would be the 2017-2018 lease purchase for technology. The bid opening is on the 21st, and Mrs. Saradecki hopes to have satisfactory bids to be approved on the 29th. The next is the annual athletic reconditioning bid. So opening for that will be on the 21st, with hopefully we can approve on the 29th. And then the last was contract renewals. There was 7 contract with 0 increases for this year, for next year.
For next year.
They were VOTAC, schools, our E-rate, bond counsel, Title I grant, labor consultant, treasurer, and attorney. And then there was 3 that had a 2% increase, one being Energy for America, one being our special ed attorney, and the last being our auditor. So a lot of things going on the finance side and on the bid opening process. I don't know if anybody has any questions on that. I will try to answer as best I can.
I would like to point out for the public, thank you, Mr. Murray. I would like to point out for the public that the board receives copies of these ahead of time. This isn't the first time that most of us have heard this, and when we're talking about large ticket items, we're not just rushing through them. We have actually had discussions about many of these items in the past and have the reports ahead of time. So I think I should point that out before we speed along. But thank you for your reports. Are there any other committee reports? I do have a curriculum committee report. We did meet on June 12th with the curriculum committee, and we covered some really fascinating items. I'm going to actually ask Dr. Mass to feel free to jump in at any moment. It was quite a considerable meeting. We covered a lot of ground, a lot of exciting initiatives going on. We were presented with the preschool curriculum readoption by Kate Rosander. They are currently using the creative curriculum for preschool 4th edition, which is from 2002. The research has clearly evolved considerably over the last 15 years, and best practices in early childhood education have grown tremendously. So there's now a growing emphasis on strengthening the preschool through grade 3 continuum nationally, and to be compliant with that, we are looking at the following. They did do, I should say, they looked at 3 research-based programs that were approved by New Jersey Department of Education, Division of Early Childhood Education. They looked at creative curriculum for preschool, high scope, and tools of the mind. They attended an overview presentation of the 3 programs. They reviewed materials during several grade level meetings throughout the year, and they were able to identify criteria for analyzing how these programs would meet district needs. They looked at areas of activities, resources, social emotional development, instructional formats, assessment, and family engagement extensions in education. They invited representatives from creative curriculum and tools of the mind into the district to present their programs for the entire grade level. Teachers utilized materials from both programs to plan and implement lessons in the classroom this spring, and they conducted a staff survey. So this was a very thorough analysis of what the best material would be to go forward. The findings are that the creative curriculum for preschool, 6th edition, overwhelmingly identified as the program that best meets the needs of our district. It aligns seamlessly with Teaching Strategies Gold, birth through 3rd grade portfolio assessment system, which is being used extensively in kindergarten. It offered the most variety of resources to support children who attend the preschool program in district, 3 and 4-year-olds. It's the most cost-effective in a long run regarding the training and the professional development, and it is utilized by local districts, including Berkeley Heights, Springfield, and Milburn, so they were able to get some feedback on that as well. The proposal for this is to purchase the creative curriculum for preschool 6th edition. The total cost is $26,451.60 because they are extremely precise for 8 kits. The 8 kits represent the 8 areas that they would have, so everyone would have a kit. It provides curriculum training for teachers in the summer, and they would convene a subset of teachers to write curriculum units for this summer, continue to collaborate during monthly preschool grade level meetings throughout the year. So all of this is the proposal and the next steps. The committee, of course, recommends the approval of the textbook adoption, and any necessary curriculum work is outlined. We then had an update on initiatives in the arts by Dr. Mast and Barbara Prestige, one of our art teachers in district. It was an art, music, and writing professional development lab, and really, really fascinating, and I'm sure I'm not going to do this justice as it was presented to us, but I'm going to try. Following the October 2016 professional development at Kane University, which was explorations into diversity, identity, and inclusion, which focused solely on art as an expressive means of identity, it was decided by staff to then expand this and follow up with combined writing and art experience. This followed the premise that artwork would add to greater sensory depth and imagery in writing. This is also in line with a commitment that the district is making to move in the direction of STEAM education and include the arts across content areas. Music was added to evoke moods and narrative images. Through creating art that abstractly depicts the tone of the music, richer sensory images will feed into the written form. They basically had students and adults, teachers, and administrators listen to a composition of music and kind of think of the moods that it elicited and use that as a prompt for a pre-writing experience. The group contained, it was a full day, contained 15 sixth graders and 11 adults, and the adults, very importantly, completed all of the same activities that the students did. It was really an immersive experience that was shared by adults and students alike at the same time. There was guided active listening and a discussion of emotional powers of color, line, and form in the abstract. They used the experience and the imagery that was happening from listening to the music to then create writing pieces, and that was put into their writing. And there were stories that were developed with conflict or plot. So, the conclusions from this experience, which is a lab and professional development communal experience, use musical experiences into personal and visual imagery. It touched on many sensory things because tactilely you're involved with touching the art and using all of the equipment. Moving to the sounds of the music and feeling the rhythm in your body was kinesthetic. Creating your own visual language. There were many layers of rich cognitive, emotional, aesthetic, and artistic creative expression. When we hear all of that, that's all great, but now we get to the good part. The students reported that ideas for writing were enhanced and came quickly. Students were excited by their own artwork and their writing. It allowed the adults to gain an understanding of the students' frustrations when they're presented with new concepts. Special ed saw a tremendous benefit when used as a non-writing, pre-write activity. It's often hard to get students to be able to come up with those ideas and do the initial pre-writing. This takes the tension level down considerably, and it opens them up to more ideas. All students. Students not normally excited to write were very receptive to it. Students with modifications wrote way beyond the normal requirements, as reported by teachers. Anecdotally, there was an Arab student who was participating who had just recently come into the district with very little English skills, and it was the first time that student was able to share work and participate more fully because it really didn't require so much language. They were able to use the music piece and then create an art piece that really was very expressive. So we have, after this experience, teachers were given playlists for the music grouped by emotion, so they could use that in their classrooms, bring it back. Art supplies were provided to teachers to use with students, some writing worksheets, and vocabulary for speaking about art and music, which some teachers may not feel comfortable with if they didn't have an art or a music background. They now have the vocabulary to use correctly with the students. Dr. Mast, anything about that part that we should?
So that was quite thorough, but what we're really doing now for the second time is combining the lab of students with teachers, so they're learning together. And the ultimate goal is that each area is enhanced. So the writing is enhanced, but also the use of the arts, both in music and in the visual arts. So the teachers were very excited, and the kids were very excited, and just the stories that were reported out by both the students and the teachers were really remarkable.
Yes, and the shared experience also can't be underestimated of how important and impactful that was, where students were able to see their teachers and administrators and the adults in the room, experiencing very similar things and going through similar processes. And we talked about the impact that it has on developing language skills and just cross-content, so many building block areas. Then we had a discussion about the educational leaders as scholars using art integration to enhance New Jersey learning standards, presented by Dr. Mast. I need to clarify, we have been accepted.
That's right.
Yes, thank you so much. I didn't want to get everybody's hopes up. So we have been accepted into the Educational Leaders as Scholars Institute, and this program will provide our team with the opportunity to design and implement school-based projects focused on arts integration and will have an impact on the entire district. We have the opportunity to work with experts in other districts to develop a plan to expand arts integration and STEAM opportunities. We have a team that consists of Nancy Bauer, who is our president, who is not with us tonight, of the board, Jocelyn Dumaresque, Nick, who's principal at Park Middle School, Nick Ellis, who's a music teacher. Alexandra Hanner is a writing teacher, and Dr. Mast. The application included the following initiatives: memories and identity expressions through art and writing. The goal of this pilot initiative was to integrate art and writing based on the belief that each art discipline informs and enhances the other. Students' visual intelligence added richer imagery to their writing, and the writing also enhanced the visual arts products. Finding the artist within, the student within. This innovative professional development program provided participating educators with a series of hands-on art experiences. We benefited by seeing the work that had been done there, where as professional development, educators were put in the position of having to create art and share that and go through the whole process, very similar to how students are engaged in the classroom. And their takeaways from that of how it felt to be challenged to do something maybe outside of your comfort level, and how students would react to that, how we each react to that. The educators gained a greater understanding and empathy for their students' needs as they experienced new challenges themselves. And third, the Title I after-school program included the visual arts and music as a means to motivate and build confidence in our students as it relates to schoolwork across different curriculum areas. There was also, Dr. Mast presented the art lesson study, the elementary art lesson for this past year. The 4 elementary art teachers had come together to participate in lesson study. The idea was for an instructional team to design a lesson together and have different members of the team teach the lesson. The focus of the research is to learn about student responses to the different aspects of lesson design. The team reconvenes after each lesson and together makes modifications. The lesson study was focused on designing a plan that would include the studio habits of mind to allow the students to develop the vocabulary in an authentic way. And I really wish I had written down I believe there are 8 of them, but those speaking of how important it is to share common vocabulary, those particular terms will be brought out to across content areas. If you find them, you can jump in. Additionally, I know she's frantically looking. Additionally, the art teachers are designing a presentation for cross-curricular applications of the studio habits with the intent of developing the shared vocabulary, allowing students to make connections across academic areas. I am going to jump ahead to, do you have them?
We're good.
Okay. They're working on it. Or it's a team effort.
I have them.
Oh, would you? Yes,
Yeah,
please.
The eight studio habits.
Yes.
Which are really critical thinking skills, which do go across all curriculum areas, but these are really sculpted in such a way particularly for the arts. So one is express, so students are able to express their thinking through what they create in art. Students are able to envision, so they think about what they're going to do, what it will look like before they actually implement the work. When they have an art piece, the third one is reflect. They will think about it, they will think about how they could improve upon it, or they might look at other people's artwork and get ideas and reflect on it. Observation skills are also very important. That's the 4th studio habit. My favorite one is engage and persist. You will only get better at something if you actually try it and you don't give up. And then there is the stretch and explore. So you won't be able to learn anything new if you stay within a box. You have to be a risk taker. You have to do trial and error. So you have to get outside of your comfort zone. The 7th one is the art world, really study the masters, study all the different techniques, and that will help you do the 8th one, which is to develop your craft. So there are lots of different mediums in the arts, and you might want to be an oil painter, or you might want to become an expert in ceramics, but whichever area you're working in, you're going to have to learn a lot about the specifics of those areas.
That's right. And they are very applicable to all areas of the curriculum, I would say, and to all of us. Thank you for that, because I was impressed with that, but I didn't have the words down. And then moving on to the summer curriculum work, Dr. Mass presented the committee with the work that will be done over the summer. As we all know, the students are gone, but the work continues. There are many, many things, but I presented it to the rest of the board. There'll be world language. I don't think there's an area that's not being touched on. High school ESL, science, and I have a typo, I apologize, FOSS training, language arts, social studies and media center, math at all the levels, preschool curriculum writing, kindergarten curriculum writing, health and PE, counseling in the middle school and high school, art lesson study, the STAR program, STEAM programs, scope and sequence, and the Tri-State Consortium Consultancy for Language Arts. Finally, we went over the district, and I wasn't kidding when I said we covered a lot, District Mentoring Plan 2017-2018. District stakeholders examined the district mentoring plan for how well it aligned with the New Jersey professional development standards, with key elements for high-quality professional development for teachers and the New Jersey professional standards for teachers. The focus was also on how the district mentoring plan supports teachers as they implement the New Jersey student learning standards in order to enhance student achievement, which is, of course, always our goal. The plan meets all compliance criteria for the state, and our practice far exceeds the state expectations through our work with new teacher roundtable, teacher coaches, our 3-day new teacher orientation, and our recent partnership with Kane University and the Plainfield Public Schools, where we focused on cognitive behavioral therapy techniques. The committee recommends approval of the district mentoring plan as presented in committee, and I believe, of course, I said about the textbook adoption. So I believe I covered it all. If anybody has any questions. Thank you. Okay, I have to find the right paper. I apologize. Okay, so did we have any letters to the board?
No.
No letters to the board. And we will move on to the superintendent's report, Dr. Hayes.
Okay, thank you. Tonight, I would ask that the board approve the out-of-district placements as listed on the agenda and on the addenda to the agenda. We did have to revise the one because there was a change in total cost. That's the one that deals with the placement at Willow Glen Academy. In addition, we'll be asking for the additional extended school year placement that was reviewed in exec, and then the additional 5 placements that are listed on the agenda. So we would like those approved this evening.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. 2S, at our next meeting on the 29th, I will be asking that the board approve the superintendent's decisions in the 4 cases that harassment, intimidation, and bullying cases that were reported to the board in May at our meetings on May 9th and May 25th in exec session. And I will also be asking that the board approve the decisions that will be reported in June, that were reported tonight and on June 29th, so that we can complete this year's round of reporting. 3S, I will be asking at our next meeting that the board approve the harassment, intimidation, and bullying self-assessment that was reported to the board tonight by Mrs. Franz. 4S, we will be asking that the board approve the submission of our harassment, intimidation, and bullying and electronic violence and vandalism reporting for the period from September of 2016 to December 2016. That was the report that Mrs. Rabimbis and Mrs. Franz gave this evening. 5S, I will be asking for approval of the creative curriculum for preschool. We'll be readopting those materials as reported out from the board curriculum committee. And then 6S, we will be asking that the board acknowledge receipt of the 2017 biannual gifts to our schools from Scotch Plains Fenwood High School, McGinn, Coles, and Brunner. We very much appreciate the support the PTAs and all of the people that supported those gifts to our schools. And we had the high school. Oh, there was an additional gift that was given to the high school that was in your packet. 7S, I will be asking that the board approve the field trip. This will be for next year in May. They're really planning ahead at Terrell. Where a group of 115 students from the World Geography classes will be visiting the Wild Safari at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, in correlation with their World Geography course, where they will be examining ecosystems, climate zones, and the animal life that is related to each of those areas. And we will also we are asking tonight that the board approve the special education summer field trips, as well as the special education field trips for the 17-18 school year. And the board did receive an updated chart of those field trips. Thank you, Amy, for catching a few corrections that needed to be made. But I would appreciate it if the board would approve those this evening, as the extended school year will be beginning before our next meeting.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Opposed? Yeah.
And then 8S, I will be asking that the board approve the matrix of forms. This is an annual approval that we do each year at this time. 9S, I will be asking the board to approve the school nursing plan for the 17-18 school year that's been prepared under the direction of Mrs. Rabimbis. 10S, I will be asking that the board approve the superintendent's ability to make decisions over the summer while the board is in recess. This involves decisions relative to the hiring of personnel and bid awards, so that we can keep everything moving forward for the beginning of the school year. And then 11S, we will be asking that the board approve the use of the Danielson rubric for teacher evaluation and the Marshall rubric for administrator and supervisor evaluation for the 2017-18 school year. So that's what we have on the docket for the 29th. And then tonight, I would ask that the board approve the personnel agenda as reviewed in exec this evening.
So moved. Second.
And that's a roll call.
Yes. Mrs. Sardaki, when you're ready, can you call the roll?
Dr. Kulikowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Winkler?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Suriani?
I abstain. I wasn't present in executive session.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mrs. Cleary?
Yes.
And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hayes. Mrs. Saridaki, I know you have quite the lengthy list, so we can do it however you would like.
Okay. I'd like to ask for the board to approve the superintendent's recommendations for staff training on reimbursements on the report dated June 15th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Then I'll review all the items in between. I have 2 BUS, where I'll be asking for the board's acknowledgement of the receipt of disbursement listings for April 2017. I'm sorry. That should be May. Three BUS, I'll be asking for the board's acknowledgement of receipt of the district school and security fire drill reports for the month of May. 4 BUS, I'll be asking for the board's approval of additional related services for the 2017 ESY program. 5 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve the purchase of 2 school buses. The funding will be withdrawn from the 2015-16 excess extraordinary aid. 6 BUS, I'll be asking for the approval of the 50% reduction, which we've done for about 3 years now, for the indoor use fee for the short time that Mr. Brzezinski's summer soccer camp comes into the high school. 7 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve acceptance of $2,500 payment of Macy's sponsorship of school branding. 8 BUS, we will have bids, hopefully, to award for auditorium lighting for the 2 middle schools, and 9 BUS for the auditorium sound at the 2 middle schools. 10 BUS, I'd like the board's approval at our next meeting for entering into an interlocal shared services agreement for next year with the Morris Union Jointure Commission for bus maintenance. This is an agreement we have every year with them. We haven't had to use it in a while, but if we get maintenance problems that we can't resolve, they can assist us with that. 11 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve the Master Collaborative Educational Services Agreement with the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey for June 29, 2017 through June 30th, 2020. This is something new, I believe, that we're entering into. Is that right, Mrs. Herpeness? Because they can provide to us specialized services that are much more expensive elsewhere. 12 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve the Frontline IEP Direct Framework for the 2017-18 school year. We're still waiting for the dollars for that. 13 BUS, now we get into a lot of the routine annual stuff here. 13 BUS, I'll be asking for the board's approval to accept the existing master agreements with our negotiating groups, the SPFEA, the Administrative Group, the Supervisors Association, and the International Brotherhood of Teamsters Local 102. 14 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve agreements with Union County Ed Services for 2017-18 for special education tuition, for non-public school textbooks, non-public school technology, Chapter 226 non-public school nursing, professional services when we need extra child study team services, non-public IDEA services, and Chapter 192, 193 services, which are also non-public. 15 BUS, I'll be asking for the board's approval of the special education tuition contract with Union County Educational Services Commission for the extended school year and for the 2017-18 school year. 16 BUS, I'll be asking for approval of the 2017-18 tuition agreement with Union County VOTEC schools. There's a 0% increase with that contract. 17 BUS, I'll be asking for the board approval. We'll have a bid opening for athletic equipment reconditioning next week. 18 BUS, we'll have a lease purchase bid opening next week for our technology funds. 19 BUS, I'll be asking for an approval of the professional services contract we have with Energy for America for 2017-2018. This is the company that remotely controls our heat and air conditioning in the buildings and monitors for any potential problems. 20 BUS, I'm asking for the board to approve the cooperative pricing system agreement between the County of Union and the Scotch Plains Fanwood Public Schools for July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2022. There is no cost associated with this. We just have to have a resolution, and by having that resolution, we can use their pricing where they've gone out for bids for products. 21 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to acknowledge receipt of the awarded contracts. This is actually a report of contracts that are expiring this year, contracts that we're renewing, and you should be receiving that sometime next week. 22 BUS, I'll be asking for the approval of our independent E-rate consultant, Mr. Donald Dietrich, at a cost of $4,800. That's a 0% increase. 23 BUS, I'll be asking for the reappointment of Arthur J. Gallagher Risk Management, E.J. Lawton, as our insurance risk manager for the district as an extraordinary unspecified service. 24 BUS, I'll be asking for the appointment of the employee benefit agent, Centric Benefits Consulting, Edward Gunther, as the employee benefit agent for the district for next year. 25 BUS, I'll be asking the board to reappoint Potter Architects as the architect of record for the district during the 2017-18 school year. 26 BUS, I'll be asking the board to reappoint Phoenix Advisors as the bond counsel and independent registered municipal advisor firm to provide specialized legal services and planning strategy, etc., for our bonds and our lease purchase. The fee is $4,000 a year. 27 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to reappoint Dr. Schaller of Workplace Ambulatory and Medical Services for medical services, including coverage of football games during the 2017-18 school year. 28 BUS, I'll be asking for the board policy manual readoption, which is the readoption of all current written policies, bylaws, and rules and regulations in our policy manual for next year. 29 BUS, I'll be asking the board approve the district mentoring plan for 2017-18. 30 BUS, I'll be asking for the transfer of any current year surplus to reserve. That's money after review at the end of the year. We generally return some by having it carry over, and then a portion of the money we put into capital reserve and maintenance reserve, and those figures are worked out once the audit's complete. 31 BUS, I'll have numbers before the next meeting as to the cost of our insurances for next year, and I'll be asking for board approval for that. 32 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve myself, the business administrator, to process additional invoices for payment for the current fiscal year with board confirmation at the next regular meeting, and also process invoices for July with confirmation at the August meeting. 33 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve that the Board of Education, to every extent consistent with state law, policies, and bylaws of the board, will be guided by Robert's Rules of Order. 34 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to authorize the uniform minimum chart of accounts for New Jersey Public Schools for the 2017-18 school year. 35 BUS, I'll be asking that the board approve the collection and maintenance of student records. 36 BUS, I'll be asking the board to authorize the budget transfers between Board of Education meetings, and that these transfers will be reported to the Board of Education and recorded in the minutes. 37 BUS, I'll be asking the board to establish a petty cash fund for 2017-18, the amount to be set at $1,000. 38 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the 403B tax shelters that we currently are using. 39 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve the 457 tax shelters that we're currently using. 40 BUS, I'll be asking the board to approve submission of the grant application for the K-8 CAPS Bullying Prevention Program. This is a grant that Park Middle School submits for, and as you'll see on the next page, the grant is about $5,500. The district's portion is about $2,300. And there's 3 separate grants. There's the elementary grant, teen grant, and a special needs grant. 41 BUS, we should have the vendors for the 2017-18 Rep Theater production for you to approve at our next meeting. 42 BUS, I'm asking the board to approve our Title I consultant, Kim McReynolds, for the 2017-18 school year. 43 BUS, 17-18. I'm asking for the board to approve pay schools for cafeteria QSP system. This is the guarantee on our computers that we have and the software that we use for the computerized lunch system that we have. 44 BUS, I'll be asking for the board's approval of the business reports for the month of May. For the board secretary report, treasurer school fund report, and budget adjustments. 45 BUS, I'll be asking for the board to approve the bill list for the period May 20th through June 23rd. And then 46 BUS, we have a correction in our bid for electrical supplies. The vendor who was awarded a portion of the bid rescinded because he did not want to be a participant unless he received the whole bid. And so there wasn't a significant cost difference, and we're asking the board to approve Cooper Electric Supply for the balance of the bid, which would mean that instead of $19,568.25, which was approved by the board in May, I'm asking for the board's approval tonight for the $22,076.65 for the bid for next year.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you.
And I'm done.
Deep breath, and that was great, thank you. Okay, so we are moving on to board policies. Do we have any board policies? Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
Some of those items.
Okay.
For the bus purchases, 5 BUS?
Yes.
In the documentation you sent us with the estimate from the bus company, there was a line in there that said required Abigail's law system is not included in the total cost because a specification regarding the requirements has not yet been provided.
Yes, and we'll have to, that's the case with the bus we have, and
Okay.
they haven't come out, the federal government has not come out with the regulations, but it's something that can be installed after the fact. And so once they come out with those guidelines, we'll be installing them on the buses.
Okay, that makes sense. I had one other question. It was about the Macy's sponsorship. What is that, sponsorship of brand?
That is with the hope of developing over time, a school logo.
A new logo for our athletics and co-curricular activities.
And Macy's is giving us money to formulate our
Support that
own
process.
Mhm.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? I apologize, Ms. Winkler. Okay. All right, so board policies, we have no board policies at this time. Any new board business? No. Other board business? Did I hear something?
Now I jumped the gun.
Okay. So under other board business, any requests to attend workshops or workshop reports?
I have a workshop report from the annual delegate assembly on May 20th.
Thank you.
So we literally ran out to the minute of when we get kicked out, which is right at noon. So it was a very fulfilling meeting. It was very packed. There was obviously the reports by the various VPs and executive director, Dr. Feinside. The biggest things that came out of it were there was 2 resolutions. One of them was tabled, one of them was passed, and then installation of new officers, so there's a new president. So Daniel Sinclair from the Lakeland Regional School Board is the president. And then Christy Teague from Greenwich Township is Vice President for County Activities. Vice President for Finance, Michael McClure from Maple Shade, and Vice President for Legislation and Resolutions is Brendan Pugh of Morristown Board of Education. So there was 153 delegates from 20 different counties. So it was a very long meeting. There was a lot of good updates. I have all the meeting materials here. I don't think anybody wants me to, in particular, go and read through them. So if you'd like to see them, they are here for your purview. Otherwise, it was a very productive meeting at Mercer Conference Center, and that's it.
Well, thank you very much for attending and reporting out to us. Any other workshop reports?
Nancy and I went to the School Boards Association Student Achievement Through Different Lenses workshop that they presented on May 30th, which was fascinating, just really interesting. There was a presentation on social and emotional learning and student achievement that included some bits about character development, and just was really interesting. They talked about how we can't really predict the future and the direction, what new technology seems to pop up every time you turn around, and that although we want to prepare our students for whatever may come their way, by the time that we're presenting it in the classroom, it's pretty much old technology. So really what they suggested was the best way to prepare students was through social emotional learning, so that they can deal with other people, especially in this age of technology where they're dealing only with their phones. But it was pretty interesting. Then there was another presentation from the National Institute for Early Education Research about the impact of early education on closing the student achievement gap and things like that. It was really interesting to hear the things she said, although I was really proud to think that we are doing a lot of those things in our district now, so kudos to us for that. There was another presentation, New Jersey Public School Labor Management Collaborative Project, which was very much about a particular school district, Montgomery Upper, a particular school actually, Montgomery Upper Middle School, where the principal of the school is working with the teachers union representative in that school very collaboratively, and they talked about how they meet regularly, but their meetings are more casual meetings where they'll chat as they walk down the hallway instead of official meetings at a desk or in a conference room, and how the collaboration between them has kind of boosted both of them in the eyes of the opposite organizations, and has really just given everyone more credibility and just a different approach to things. I'm also pleased to say that we do quite a few of the things that they were talking about doing. We do try to empower our teachers to get involved and to be part of the process, where things like the lesson study are a good example of that. Then there was a presentation on equity and excellence, and they talked about student achievement and how it can be affected by hidden biases and things like that. And it was pretty interesting. It kind of went back to the program that I think it was Joan and I, and maybe Cindy too, right, had gone to, about hidden bias.
Yes.
Inherent bias.
At Middlesex County College.
Yeah, and it referenced a lot of those sort of things.
Had one of those down at workshop too.
Pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
And then there was a final one about at-risk youth and the juvenile justice system, which I don't think affects too many of our students right now, but it was informational. I should say the speaker who was there was more yelling at us than telling us about ways to improve the communication there. But, so I was a little disappointed with that one. The rest of it was pretty good. It was fairly interesting and nice to see how many of these things we're already doing. But
Very good.
definitely good ideas for moving forward.
Thank you so much. Any questions? Okay. Any other workshop reports? All right. We move on to 2 OBB, adoption of resolution for negotiating services. We will do that next week. No, next meeting, I should have misspoke. 3 OBB, appointment of treasurer of school monies. 4 OBB, resolution for legal services. 5 OBB, okay, help me out here,
Nisavachia.
Thank you, Nisavachia, agreement for audit, June 17, 2017. And finally, we have under other board business, 6, which this evening, we have 6 for superintendent's completion of merit goals. Do we read the motion or what are we doing?
To move that we approve the
Okay,
completion
move-
of the merit goals, and you could just highlight.
I can
the
highlight.
5,
Okay.
The title.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to do
Yeah,
it
you have to read
appropriately.
them.
Yeah, thank you. Move that the Board of Education attests to the superintendent's completion of the following merit goals for 2016-2017. The 3 quantitative goals were fully met, and they are art lesson study, shadow a student, parent workshops. And the 2 qualitative goals were fully met, professional development, IRNS handbook. We need a...
I second that.
Thank you. All those, do we have to do roll call?
Call for discussion, if there's
Any discussion? Everyone had an opportunity to look over as presented to us? Okay.
Yeah,
Any
we do a roll
questions?
call. 'cause
Any
it involves
questions?
compensation.
No. Okay. So, Mrs. Sardaki?
Mrs. Cleary?
Yes.
Mrs. Winkler?
Yes.
Dr. Kulikowski?
Yes.
Mr. Murray?
Yes.
Mrs. Suriani?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Thank you, Mrs. Saradaki. And thank you, Dr. Hayes, for all of your hard work over the course of this past year. The board serves, is very pleased to serve with you. You keep us well informed, and we feel very confident in the things that we voted on just now. Thank you so much. All of this leads to success in our district with our students. We're very, very fortunate. Okay, so we have approval of the minutes for next meeting. So if the board just takes a look at that. In accordance with Scotch Plains Fanwood Public School Bylaws 0164 and 0165, the meeting will now be opened for any further public comment. If you'd like to make a comment, you can come up and give your name. Okay, seeing no one. Anything for the good of the order? Dr. Kulikowski.
Thank you. I participated in the School One Career Day event today.
Oh,
So I
nice.
went there, I met with 5 different groups this morning, from pre-K through 2nd grade. It was a very well organized, lots of different presenters from firemen and policemen and architects. So the students asked some really good questions, and it was an excellent event. I must say, I
that's
was
great.
impressed.
Thanks so much for taking the time to do that. That's wonderful.
Pleasure.
Okay, any others? Dr. Hayes, I know.
I have one.
What?
I have one.
Yes,
Did we
yes,
have
please.
one? If everybody else is done.
I don't see anyone jumping forward, so I
Okay.
think we're in a good place. Thank you, Dr.
I
Hayes.
would just like to acknowledge and thank Deborah Belfield, because this is, sadly, her
Yes.
last board meeting with us, because the one on September 29th, I'm sorry, June 29th, she will be happily on vacation. And she is moving on to the Moorestown Public Schools, and we wish her the best and thank her for all of her years of service with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Moorestown is very lucky. Okay, any other things for the good of the order? At that, we will move to adjourn. Before we do that, we should say, yep.
We're going to adjourn to exec.
Yes, we're going to go into exec,
Okay, we are going to adjourn to
but
exec.
no action will be taken.
No action will be taken. I would like to just, for the record, say the upcoming meetings. The next meeting is on Thursday, June 29th. There will be no July meeting, and the following meeting that we come back is Thursday, August 31st. And we wish our upcoming graduates on Thursday, June 22nd well. Many of us will be out there, and we encourage you to give a good thought. If you get an opportunity to come out and see it, it's really wonderful. So with that, we will move into exec.
You should have a motion to go into exec.
May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Thank you, ladies.
We will return to public, but no action will be taken.
No action will be taken.
Adjourn.
Right.